Have you ever watched your dog do something strange and thought, what on earth does that mean? From sneezing during playtime to tilting their head when you talk, these little quirks might seem random, but they're not. Dogs speak a silent language, one built through instinct, emotion, and centuries by our side. And chances are, some of the things they do every day are actually messages just for you. In this video, we're going to decode 7 of your dog's most puzzling behaviors. You might laugh, you might be surprised, and by the end, you'll never look at your pup the same way again. Let's start with something small, but surprisingly meaningful. Why dogs sneeze so much, especially when they're not even sick. You've probably seen it. Your dog, in the middle of a joyful play session, suddenly lets out a dramatic sneeze. And you think dust grass? Maybe a weird smell. But what if I told you that sneeze might actually mean I'm having the time of my life? Dogs don't just sneeze to clear their noses. They use sneezing like punctuation to signal joy, release tension, or even say, "This is fun," but it's all play. Imagine a child laughing so hard they snort. That's what your dog is doing with that happy sneeze. It's a reset button, a way to keep things lighthearted when play gets intense. But here's the twist. Sneezing can also be a quiet red flag. If it's constant or comes with thick, bloody discharge, it could signal something serious. Could your dog be trying to tell you something more than just, "I'm excited"? That little burst of air through the nose, it might be nothing. Or it might be your dog whispering an emotional truth you've been missing. But hold on. If sneezing is your dog's way of celebrating the next behavior we're about to uncover, might just be how they listen to your heart. Number 2. Why dogs tilt their heads. It's more than just cute. You say, "Want to go for a walk?" and your dog gives you that adorable head tilt. It melts your heart every time, right? But what if that innocent little tilt wasn't just them being cute? What if it was their version of leaning in, of saying, "I'm trying to understand you"? Dogs tilt their heads not just to hear better, but to connect. It's like tuning a radio, shifting the angle to catch every signal, every word you say, especially if your voice means the world to them. Now imagine this for dogs with long muzzles. That head tilt might also be a way to see you more clearly, to move the blur out of the way and focus on your face. They're not just looking, they're trying to read you. Your mood, your words, your eyes. Some scientists even found that smarter dogs tilt their heads more often, not because they're confused, but because they're thinking, processing, listening with their whole body. So next time your dog does that slow tilt, ask yourself, are they really just reacting, or are they remembering something you once said? And if they're tilting to understand you, what happens when you try to understand them? Up next, a behavior that seems sleepy, but might actually say, "I feel what you feel." Number 3, why dogs yawn, and it's not just because they're tired. You catch your dog yawning and think, guess someone's ready for a nap. But what if that yawn wasn't about sleep at all? What if it was a signal, a mirror, a message meant just for you? In the dog world, yawning can mean a dozen things, and tiredness is just the tip of the iceberg. Sometimes it's their way of saying, "I'm feeling overwhelmed," like a pressure valve releasing tension without a sound. At the vet's office, during thunderstorms, or even in a crowded room, that big, wide yawn might be your dog quietly whispering, "I'm a little scared, but I'm trying to stay calm." And here's where it gets even more fascinating. Dogs yawn when you do. Research shows they're more likely to catch a yawn from you than from a stranger. That's empathy. That's your dog reflecting your inner world back at you, without words, without fuss. Think about that. Has your dog ever yawned right after you did, as if you were emotionally synced? So now, next time your dog stretches that jaw wide, don't just brush it off. Ask yourself, is this a nap signal? Or is my dog reading the room better than anyone else here? And speaking of silent messages, what does it really mean when they gently place a paw on your lap? And just stay there. Number 4. Why they put their paw on you. And it's not just asking for treats. You're sitting quietly, maybe watching TV, maybe just breathing. And then that paw, soft, slow like a whisper with fur. Your dog places it gently on your leg and just leaves it there. No barking, no pulling, just presence. And you wonder, do they want something? Food, a walk, maybe. But sometimes it's something deeper. Sometimes it's not a request. It's reassurance. Dogs are physical communicators. In their world, touch speaks volumes. That paw could be a gentle nudge that says, "I'm here," or more quietly, "Are you okay?" Especially for older dogs or those who've been through trauma. The paw isn't just a gesture, it's a bridge. In moments of loud noises, shifting moods, or quiet tension, that touch becomes their lifeline. A pulse check. A moment of connection in a world that often moves too fast. And think about this. When was the last time someone touched your hand without wanting anything from you? Dogs do that. No agenda. Just instinct and love. But of course, if they are asking for something even that's beautiful, because it means they trust you to meet their needs, to hear their unspoken words. That's not begging, that's faith. So next time you feel that paw on your knee, don't rush to respond. Just pause. You might be the safe place they're reaching for. But what happens when dogs don't just reach toward you, but start decoding other dogs in ways that seem bizarre to us? Up next, the behavior that makes every dog owner say, "Oh no, not that again." Number 5, why they lick other dogs' pee, and why it's basically dog Facebook. Let's face it, it's the moment every dog owner dreads. Your sweet, cuddly pup walks over to a patch of grass, and then starts licking another dog's pee. Gross. Right, you pull the leash, grimace, maybe mutter something under your breath. But to your dog, that moment isn't disgusting. It's informational gold. It's not about flavor. It's about data. Dogs have a special tool called the Jacobson's organ tucked between the roof of the mouth and the nose. Think of it as their built-in social scanner. When they lick pee, they're not being rude, they're logging in. They're sniffing out the dog's age, sex, health status, emotional state, even whether the other dog is in heat. One quick lick, and they've downloaded the whole profile. It's LinkedIn meets Ancestry DNA, but in smell. And here's the kicker. This behavior is ancient. In the wild, information meant survival. The more they knew about others in the area, the better their chances of avoiding danger, finding allies, or starting a family. So next time you cringe, remember your dog is just doing what dogs have done for thousands of years. Gathering intel, reading the room, or, in this case, the lawn. But what if your dog isn't reading information, they're acting out emotion? Coming up next, the behavior that makes your living room look like a war zone. Number 6, why they destroy things. When you're not home, it's not about revenge. You walk in the door after a long day, and there it is. The shredded pillow, the mangled shoe, the chewed-up remote control. Your home looks like a tiny tornado passed through, and standing in the middle of it is your dog, eyes wide, tail low. You sigh. Why would you do this to me? But here's the thing, they didn't. They did it for themselves, to survive the silence you left behind. Dogs don't destroy out of spite. They destroy to cope. Imagine being wired for connection, pack life, constant companionship, and then being left alone in a quiet house for hours. For some dogs, that silence screams. Chewing becomes their therapy, their escape. It's stress relief. It's how they say, "I didn't know when or if you were coming back." Separation anxiety is real. So is boredom. And when dogs have no outlet, no routine, sometimes that job looks like turning your couch into modern art. But don't mistake destruction for disobedience. Behind every torn-up slipper is a story of unmet need. And here's a thought. What if the chaos they leave behind is just a shadow of the chaos they feel inside? But here's what's wild. Sometimes your dog shakes off all that energy, not with their teeth, but with their whole body. And they do it even when they're bone dry. Why? That's next. Number 7. Why they shake, even when they're not wet. The secret reset button. You know the move. Your dog stands still for a second, then gives a sudden full-body shake, like they're trying to toss off invisible water. But the odd part, they're completely dry. No bath, no rain, no muddy puddle. So what's really going on here? That shake isn't just about drying off. It's a reset, a reboot of the body and the brain. Think of it like when you stretch after a long phone call, or when you exhale hard after a stressful... Dogs use the shake to let go of tension, of excitement, of mental static. It's like a soft reboot of the nervous system, their way of saying, "Okay, let's start fresh." Watch closely. Dogs often shake after waking up, after being scolded, or even after meeting a new dog at the park. It's their way of clearing the emotional slate. That tiny tremor is loaded with meaning. It could mean, "That was a bit much," or "I'm ready for what's next." And sometimes it's just joy. A quick tail-to-ear shake before a walk. That's excitement they can't contain. It's their version of a happy dance, but more efficient. Of course, not all shakes are harmless. If it's constant paired with head tilting, scratching, or stiffness, it could point to something deeper: pain, ear infections, neurological issues. But one shake after a nap, that's their way of saying, "All right, I'm back." So next time you see your dog shake for no reason, don't dismiss. It might just be the most honest expression of how they feel in that exact moment. And speaking of strange behaviors, what if I told you that sometimes their oddest habits happen when they think no one is watching? Number 8. Why they eat their own poop and what it could be. Telling you. You see it happening from across the yard, your dog nose down focused, and before you can shout, "No," it's already gone. They've eaten their own poop. It's the kind of moment that makes your stomach turn. But while it might disgust you for your dog, it could mean something completely different. Something instinctual, something urgent. This behavior, called coprophagia, isn't just a weird quirk. For some dogs, it's rooted deep in their DNA. In the wild, a mother dog will clean up after her puppies by eating their waste away to keep the den safe and clean. That primal instinct, still alive today. But sometimes it's more than instinct. Sometimes it's a signal flare from the inside out. A dog eating their poop could be trying to replace missing nutrients, correct an imbalance in their gut, or even cope with anxiety and boredom. Think of it like biting your nails, uncomfortable to see, but driven by something internal. And if they've been punished harshly for accidents in the past, they might eat the evidence out of shame or confusion. So, before the disgust takes over, pause. Ask the deeper question, is your dog trying to clean up or cry for help? And here's where it gets truly important. This isn't a habit to ignore, because behind that, one strange act could be something affecting their body, their brain, or even their bond with you. Now, if eating poop seems extreme, wait until you learn about a behavior that turns your dog into a backyard excavator. Is it just play? Or is your dog digging for more than dirt? Number 9. Why they dig holes and what they're really searching for. You step into the yard and find it another hole. Fresh dirt paw prints a crater where your flowers used to be. And your dog, sitting nearby, tongue out tail, wagging like they just unearthed treasure. But here's the thing, they did, just not the kind of treasure you can see. Dogs dig for all kinds of reasons. Sometimes it's instinct passed down from ancestors who dug to find food, stay cool, or create a safe den. Other times it's boredom. With nothing else to do, they turn the backyard into their own personal construction site. And sometimes digging is emotional, a way to burn off anxiety, confusion, or even separation stress. But here's a layer we often miss: dogs also dig to find comfort. The earth holds scents, yours, theirs, other animals. When they dig, and then lie down in the hole, they're surrounding themselves with something familiar. It's their version of crawling under the covers on a lonely night. Now sure, it's frustrating when your lawn looks like a minefield, but before you grab the shovel and fill it in, pause. Could your dog be digging because they're searching for a job, a purpose, a place to feel safe? What if those holes are more than mess? What if they're messages, and if their paws are chasing comfort in the dirt? What about when their feet won't stop moving inside the house back and forth, like they're searching for something just out of reach? Number 10, why they pace or circle. And when it's a sign you shouldn't ignore. You hear the soft padding of paws on the floor again. Your dog walks to the door, then back, circles the couch, then repeats. And again? It's not random. It's a rhythm, a loop. And the question hangs in the air: what are they looking for? Sometimes pacing is simple. Anticipation before a walk. Waiting for someone to come home. It's like us tapping a foot or drumming fingers. But when the pattern repeats without end, when your dog can't seem to settle, it's time to look closer. Pacing and circling can be early whispers of pain, cognitive decline, or deep emotional unrest. Older dogs may pace when they're disoriented or anxious, unsure of where they are or what they need. Others may circle compulsively as a way to self-soothe, like a broken record skipping the same groove. And then there's the bedtime ritual, that slow spiral before they lie down. That one's ancient, a leftover from wild ancestors flattening the grass to build a safe nest. That circle means, I'm preparing. I want to rest, but I need to feel safe first. So the next time your dog walks the same path again and again, don't just watch. Ask what's behind the motion. Is it habit or a silent signal? Because when the body speaks in circles, the heart may be spinning too. And if pacing is how they express inner unrest, what does it mean when their voice starts to tremble? The next behavior might sound like a whimper, but it's carrying much more than noise. Number 11. Why they whine or whimper and what their voice is trying to say. It's that soft, high-pitched sound somewhere between a sigh and a song. Your dog whines, not loud, not angry, just persistent. And suddenly, the room feels quieter, heavier. What are they trying to tell you? Whining is the language of need. It's the closest thing your dog has to saying, something's not right. Maybe they're hungry. Maybe they need to go out. But often, it's deeper. It's emotional. Dogs whine when they feel uncertain, overwhelmed, or left behind. Think of it like a child tugging at your sleeve, not with words, but with sound. Sometimes whining is learned a result of us unknowingly rewarding it with attention. But other times, it's a signal from the heart. Have you ever noticed your dog whimpering in a crowded room or when a storm rolls in? That trembling note might be their version of, I don't feel safe. And older dogs, they may whine more when their senses fade and the world feels a little blurrier. It's easy to brush it off, to say, "You're fine." But what if that sound is the only way they can ask for comfort, clarity, or connection? The next time you hear that soft cry, don't just quiet it. Listen. Sometimes the smallest sounds carry the biggest truths. And now, from sound to motion, what if your dog's strangest habit is something they do to themselves? In circles, chasing what they can never quite catch. Number 12. Why they chase their tails, and when it's not. Just for fun. At first, it's funny. Your dog spins in a circle, tail in sight, determination in their eyes. You laugh, maybe pull out your phone. But then it happens again. And again. The circle, and somewhere between the amusement and the repetition, a question forms: is this just play? Or is something else chasing them? Tail chasing can be harmless, especially in puppies. It's discovery. It's movement. It's joy wrapped in fur. But when a dog chases their tail relentlessly, when they spin until they're panting dizzy, or even biting themselves, it shifts. It becomes a signal. An itch that won't go away, even if there's nothing there. For some dogs, tail chasing is a symptom of stress, boredom, or even obsessive-compulsive disorder. A loop they can't break. Just like a person twirling hair or tapping a foot for hours without knowing why. The behavior becomes a rhythm of anxiety, a silent scream in motion. And sometimes it's physical. Allergies, infections, or impacted glands can drive dogs to focus on the one spot they can't reach with their paws, so they spin desperately trying to fix what they can't understand. So the next time your dog chases their tail, don't just smile. Look deeper. Ask yourself, is this play, or is this pain dancing in disguise? Because when dogs chase their own tails, they're not just chasing motion. They might be chasing peace. And now that you've heard all 12 these strange, silly, surprising behaviors, there's one final truth to hold on to. Every odd habit, every unexplained action, every quiet signal might just be their way of saying, "I love you." But are we listening? You've just taken a walk through 12 behaviors, some strange, some silly, some easy to miss. But together, they form something bigger. A quiet language, a code written in tail wags, sneezes, soft whines, and head tilts. A language that says, without ever speaking, I trust you. I need you. I love you. Because dogs don't leave us love letters. They don't write poetry or give speeches. They give us moments. A paw on the knee. A yawn when you're tired. A gentle shake after a... And behind each of these small moments is a message. The question is, will we pause long enough to hear it? So the next time your dog does something odd, don't just correct it or laugh it off. Look closer. Feel deeper. Because your dog has been speaking this whole time. If this video helped you understand your dog even a little more, if it made you smile or maybe even missed up, then I invite you to stick around. Subscribe to this channel. There are more stories to tell, more secrets to uncover, and more ways to fall in love with your best friend all over again. Because they only get one voice, and it's up to us to finally listen.